According to our standing orders, you're entitled to ask only one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Bwana Spika. Swali langu kwa waziri ni kumuuliza inakuwaje kwamba tunaona mijengo mipya inaendelea kujengwa ya mashule, ili hali shule ambazo zipo tayari ziko katika hali mbaya, hali ambayo imedorora. Nikipiga mfano wa shule ya Jamvi la Wageni pale Likoni na shule ya Peleleza. Inakuwaje kwamba watoto wanaendelea kupata majibu duni kutoka Pwani na bado tunaendelea kukubali mifuko ya hazina ya CDF na mifuko mengine mengi kuendelea kuleta mijengo mipya ili hali ile iliyopo iko katika hali ngumu? Je, tunataka kuendelea na mviringo wa matokeo duni ama tunataka kuwasaidia watoto wetu wawe watoto ambao wana maono mazuri na msingi mwema katika maisha yao? Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Joyce Korir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Could the Ministry of Education come up with a policy that regulates the mushrooming of these schools and instead focus on improving the existing infrastructure?
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a little bit worried about the 33,000 primary schools where this facility has been constructed. According to data from the ministry has got a total of 35,570 primary schools in this country, of which 11,000 are private, meaning the ministry has got 23,000 primary schools. So if the minister has constructed classrooms in 33,000 schools, it means a whooping 10,000 are ghost schools. Minister, what is the reliability of your answer? And if it is true, you stand by the fact that you have constructed in 33 primary schools, which are these 10,000 ghost primary schools? And I'm on the page. I'm on your page at the ministry that I'm referring to.
Honorable CS, you have 5 minutes to respond. Proceed.
Let me start with the question of Senator Kalwale quickly. We've constructed 23,000 classrooms, not in 23,000 schools. Some of the schools required 4 classrooms, others 5, others 2, depending on the streams that they had. Each classroom required to hold 45 students. So it's not like we've done 23,000 classrooms in 23,000 schools. Now, the specific question from Tharakanidhi is that we've done 218 classrooms, and it is true that we noticed that mud-walled institutions, and as a ministry, we send a team there to do an analysis, and that has come back, and now we are working towards ensuring that out of the resources we have, some of them will be allocated to some of those schools, because it would have to be done like an affirmative action. This is because for the last few years, no infrastructure or no development had taken place in that particular area, and we are doing something about it. That's why we sent a team there, and I think the leaders did a letter with the specific schools that needed support, and something is being done about. But we've already done, so far, 218 classrooms in that place. With respect to Senator Mundig, to ensure that all our schools have trees planted, and this is an exercise that is done continuously, and would be continuing to do it in those areas. But as a ministry, we do not have an emergency kitty where, for example, in situations where roofs are blown off, we can quickly go into that kitty and release resources for those schools. The only way is for the money to come from the infrastructure fund, and if that infrastructure resource is not given, like it wasn't given for the last previously 2 years, then the ministry's hands are tied to be able to handle those emergencies. Senator Abbas's question, they were in two parts. We did have classrooms done in Wajir, 189 classrooms, Mandera 175, and Garissa 132. So some classrooms have been done there. If there are others that need to be done, as I said, as enrollment increases, we are continuing to work towards ensuring that we have infrastructure in these institutions that cover and that are adequate for the students. On the issue of the TVETs that are supposed to be equipped, it is government policy that each constituency has a TVET institution. So far, we've done 252 TVETs in those constituencies, and some of them are very well equipped, and others are awaiting equipment that has been ordered from China. And you know the process of getting these grants, getting those loans, and then getting the equipment here takes time. But some of those are already allocated, or they are listed awaiting those particular equipment to come depending on the area of specialization, and then they will be delivered to those. So something in that space is also being done to ensure that our TVETs are equipped sufficiently to be able to support the enrollment that we are doing currently. Indeed, as a government, we've now had a policy to increase the enrollment of our TVET trainees from the 297 that were there in 2022 to the 700,000 we have currently, to 2 million, hopefully by the end of 2026, so that we can be able to put or to take as many of our young people into those institutions as possible. To Wakil Hillary's question, my learned friend, the additional registration statistics, when we already have these institutions that are not well taken care of. In the verification exercise that we are undertaking currently, part of the information that we are collecting is the number of students in each of those institutions and the status or the state in which those institutions are. This is the information that now will be able to give us data to enable the government make a policy on whether some of those schools have got any basis to remain registered, whether we will move some of those students from one school to another, so that we can have institutions that are optimal in terms of having the right number of teachers and the right number of students. So we are doing something about that, because previously that exercise had not been done. Applications used to come to the ministry on the basis that there is a school that needs to be registered, and if it met the criteria, then the registration was done. But over time, we've noticed that some of those institutions, and the statistics we're getting, is that some of the schools that we have less than 10 students. You have a school with less than 10 students, maybe with 5 teachers, so it is not optimal. And that is why we are doing this verification exercise, in order to give us the opportunity to interrogate the things or the schools that we have, the institutions that we have, whether some of them will remain or they'll be merged and some will be separated. So we are doing something in that space as well. The question of CDF and the fact that the CDF is now undergoing that process of, it might not be out or it might be there. But if for any chance CDF is not there, then the funds that CDF now is using for purposes of supporting the ministry would request that that then fund would be allocated to the ministry in order for the ministry to continue doing the infrastructure and the bursaries that the CDF is doing. However, part of the exercise that we are doing at the moment, and we think that we need to do, is we want to, just like we're undertaking the verification exercise, we want to undertake an audit of all the money that is utilized in the sector, in terms of all the bursaries that are given by various institutions, by various donors, by various government agencies, so that we can get a figure to know how much is it exactly are we spending in the sector for education. So that compared, we can then analyze to find out with the number of learners that we have, if we pulled all these resources together, can we then have a completely free education for our children? Because to date, there is nowhere you can get the total figure other than the 702 billion that the government allocates in the budget. There is no other center where you can get a centralized figure to say this is the amount of money that is being utilized totally in the education sector. So we want to do an audit first, then that audit will be able to give us the data that we require to push for probably the consolidation of all these amounts into one kitty, and then we have that kitty running the sector. So it's is work in progress. It's a conversation that we'll need to all have to see how we sort out that problem, because as the senator here has said, these are problems that have been there for a very long time, and we've really not gotten the answers to them, and we are trying to find out what is the best way to do this in order to ensure that we resolve the financial challenges that face this sector. So we are doing something about it as well. And also, to Senator Consolata's question, we are undertaking a new platform in the ministry called CHEMIS, because we want this ministry to have one single center or one single source of truth. We want every module, everything that happens in the sector, to have a module in that system so that we can collect and link what we are doing and we can see each other. For example, if you have 12 million students, when you are buying books or supplying books for a subject, that subject should only have 12 million books, for example. Because we do not normally have a situation where it is, this information is at the same center. You would find perhaps when you have 5 million students, you are supplying 7 million books. So that there is a gap and there is a waste of resources that needs now to be utilized optimally. So we are doing something, utilizing data, utilizing AI to ensure that going forward, we are able to utilize the resources that are available in the digital sector to make decisions that are data-based, that are evidence-driven. And to Senator Miraji's question, it is true that there, because of this disconnect, where one arm is not seeing the other, we are finding things happening that otherwise, if we were operating not in silos, would be much more optimal in the utilization of the resources that we have. This is why we are saying we want to come up with that particular platform so that even if you are a donor or you are somebody doing anything for the education sector, you plug in into the module and the ministry and the government can see what you are doing, including feeding of children and all the other activities that take place by individuals in the sector. Policy to regulate the policy is the same thing that I think I've explained. Senator Joyce had requested whether we have a policy to bring all these things together, and we are working on it. The same question that I think I've responded to. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, will move to question number 101 by the Senator for Bomet County, the Honorable Wakili Hilary Sigei. Honorable Senator, you may proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the CS for availing a response to the question which I'm straight away going to ask. This is question number 101. Question 101A, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed assessment of the current state of infrastructure at Bomet University College and disclose the status of all ongoing infrastructural development projects for lecture halls, workshops, hostels, and other essential academic and support facilities? 101B, what steps has the ministry taken to ensure that the college has adequate and suitable land to meet its current and future development needs? And could the Cabinet Secretary specifically indicate whether consideration can be made for acquisition of parcels of land from the neighboring institutions? And question 101C, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the current status of the process for granting a charter to Bomet University College and provide the projected timelines for the conclusion of this process. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable CS, your written response is fairly long. You may wish to paraphrase it in the interest of time. You may proceed. It's already been circulated to all honorable senators. So
Yes,
you may
Mr.
just
Speaker, I'll
paraphrase it.
try and do that. With respect to question number 101A, the assessment of the current status of Bomet University infrastructure, you will find that under paragraph 35, attachment number B, you see 1. And in that attachment, you will see the number of the lecture rooms that the institution has. There's item and then there's number. You can leave the capacity and the size. And we have a total of 58 in terms of lecture rooms, lecture theaters, assembly, auditorium, science laboratory, demonstration farms, workshops, micro-teaching, lab, GIS lab, and computer lab. There are total infrastructure of 58. In terms of what is currently being undertaken in terms of infrastructure by the college, the number is indicated in attachment number BUC2. But basically, the projects that are being undertaken as we speak include the tuition block, which is at 98% complete. Then we have the library block, is at 95% complete. We have the multipurpose hall, it's at 92% complete. We have hostels that are at 4% complete. We have civil works around the college that are 65% complete. There's the borehole drilling, elevated tank, service tank, and reticulation is at 60% complete, and the research center is at 91% complete. All right? There is a figure there that is indicated in, under paragraph 39. Now, on the proposed construction of the block, the administrative block, lecture theater, and associated works, you would find that the administration block is currently at 98% complete, having utilized a total of 120 million out of the 137 allocated. And then the project that has been allocated 55 this financial year in order to cover the shortfall that is remaining, and 40 million is supposed to come from the government, while 15 million will be sourced from A&A. The proposed construction of the extension of the ablution block, the works are at 91% done at a total cost of 11.9%. The amount already paid is 6 million. There's a balance of 5 million, which has been budgeted for, and that project is also ongoing. The steps that the ministry has taken to ensure that the college has adequate and suitable land. Now, the details on the table there indicate how much land the university already has. And the university in Bomet town itself has a total of 56.5 acres of land. That is those three particular blocks. One is for 4.7 hectares, another one is 15.7, and the other one is 2.5 hectares, making a total of 56.5 acres when you convert. They also have another 44 hectares, equivalent of 108.7 acres in a place called Sigor. However, the university is also discussing with the following institutions in order to expand the land, that is St. Michael Secondary School, Imarisha Circle Grounds, Bomet TTC, and the prison's open land space next to it. But even as they do that, let's just confirm that the institution has sufficient land as per CUE requirements that requires a university to have a minimum of 52 acres. It already has 56.5, as I said, and 108.7 acres. I think the other important part is on the question of the charter. The institution has been working with CUE, and they've gone to, back and forth, last resting with the CUE going there in August this year, on the 19th of August 2025, when the commission visited to find out whether they have met the requirements of the various inspections that the CUE had done, and they have come back with that particular report, and they are currently undertaking an analysis of that report. And it's thus projected that, subject to the positive findings by the Commission for the University Education, the college will be awarded its charter before the end of this year. That will depend on the analysis of the visit by CUE. Thank you.
Thank you, CS. Senator Wakili, do you have the two supplementary questions?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have got more than two, but I know I can only be allowed to ask two questions. So I'll ask the two questions in order of their priority. Number one, Mr. Speaker, is on a specific response to paragraph 38 on the works in the projects which were retendered. There is an indication by the response by the Honorable CS under item D on hostels at 4% complete. I think this must be misinformation because I'm a resident of Bomet. I am not aware whether there has been any foundation stone on the hostels within the university other than a budgetary allocation and advert that went out in the mainstream media sometimes back on the affordable housing programs that the university was allocated 800 hostels. Could the CS maybe clarify so that for purposes of public consumption, we indeed get the right information? Secondly, under paragraph 42, on the details of land ownership by the university. I do not know whether the Honorable CS is aware that parcel Kericho-Bomet is a Kericho-Bomet town plot 437 is a subject of an active court case, and whether the ministry is involved in it and options available as regards the protection of the public interest in that particular case that is ongoing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will pass the third question to the Honorable Senator Joyce Korir to ask as a supplementary question, because
don't give your tactics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Otherwise, I might even also not give her the opportunity. Yes, you can answer those two supplementary questions. Yes. Then we take more from the members.
On the question of the hostels being at 4% complete, the information we got is that only the excavations were done, accounting for the figure of 4%. The construction itself has not started. They did the excavations that they've indicated that it's accounting for 4%. On question of the...
Because if indeed the information is that excavation has been done, where? Is it within the institution or elsewhere? I just want the Honorable CS also not to be misled, because this is something that
Wakili, you know, even in court, you don't interrupt the judge. So let us give the CS time to answer your two questions. If you are not satisfied, of course, I'm here to help you out and to sort you. So don't be in any hurry. Honorable CS, you can conclude your two
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is the information that was applied to us from the university, but what I can then do is write back on the basis of us getting further details on what this 4% comprises. And similarly, we are not aware of the court case relating to Block 437. We'll also do in that indication right, and then we'll write to the senator to, to inform him of what we have found out. Then we can do a follow-up from there. So it is information that we got from the institution itself. Thank you. But we undertake to verify that information.
Tawakili, can that rest at that point, the matter?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I, with a lot of respect, appreciate the responses from the Honorable CS. The CS is my good friend, and so I know he has given the information that is available.
He's
Thank
your
you.
senior, of course.
Yes.
Your senior.
Thank you.
So, CS, I can also advise that, you have your team up to Bomet County. You have the directors of education. So just by a call, they can be able to tell you, or a certain, they can do physical visit to the university and give you a report even by tomorrow, so that you can communicate to the senator. Because you have your team, they don't need even to do a lot of letters. Your team is on the ground, they can do that work for you. Next is Senator Chalgay. Do you have a supplementary question on this particular question?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, as I ask my supplementary question, you should go on record that the CS did not answer on JSS governance structure. Either he ignored not to answer or he didn't want to. My only supplementary question on this matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, is as much as we are discussing about infrastructure in the universities, what is the current situation of infrastructure into universities and budgetary allocation, including both infrastructure and industrial action or strikes that we are witnessing in the country among university, and to give us update on the ongoing strikes by the lecturers across the country. I yield, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Beatrice Akin Ogola.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question goes to the issue of adequate and suitable land. CS, what measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure that our schools get their titles in order to secure the parcels of land they have? Because this is a recipe for hostilities in the neighborhoods. CS, one of my schools in my home sub-county in Dewa sub-county, a school called Buru Atego, that has no title, and they are ever squabbling, and it looks like the management of the school is not able to finish with the title. Specifically, what are you doing other than the generalities of schools should get titles?
As much as practically possible, Honorable Senators, let us ask supplementary questions, just related to the primary question. Because honestly speaking, I don't know whether the CS has an answer of that school, unless now you are giving him some work to do so that he can report back to you.
Honorable Speaker, with all due respect, I stand guarded, but I needed general measures on titling that they have. I do not think it needs to, you would need to prepare for that, because the ministry must have a policy
But
and a way of working.
Did you mention a school in Diwa? Did you
That
mention
was-
a certain institution?
Your Honorable Speaker, that was an illustration to build up onto my concern. Honorable Speaker, I stand guided. But the ministry must have measures that they have in place over titling in schools. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is it to know that if you do that question specific for tethering to the CS next time? Because I'm trying to have for the other senators who ask questions so that they can get the opportunity also to get their responses. Okay, fine. Fine, Senator Beatrice. Senator Sifuna Edwin.
You know, Mr. Speaker, this morning has been an illustration of just how incomprehensible this government runs its affairs. You have a cabinet secretary who cannot ask for a photograph of that excavation that has been done at Bomet. He's just listening to stories and telling us he will write letters.
Give guidance.
Yeah, it is
Senator
good that you gave that
Sifuna.
guidance, but we must continue to express outrage Honorable Speaker,
Can you
this
now
is
ask
not
me-
how to run a government.
Can you now ask your question?
Yeah, my question is related to something that, Honorable Speaker, I will not allow to be heckled
As
today.
under Senator Chaligay, order, you're out of order. I gave guidance on that matter and that should be list.
In fact, the senator who is heckling me himself.
Don't
has
listen to the
no,
Senator.
No, no,
Just
no.
proceed and ask your question, Senator.
He has
Sifuna.
also expressed
Senator
frustration.
Chega, I'll
That,
draw out right away out of this chamber.
thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, can I proceed?
Proceed.
Because he has also expressed frustration that the CS has not answered his questions. Even for me, I am not satisfied with the answers that are being given. But let me say this. I pity the senator for Bomet. He is focusing on infrastructure. He is focusing on lecture halls, workshops, and all these other things. We have all these things at the University of Nairobi. The lecturers at the universities are on the third week of strike. Honorable Speaker, education is not just about these things we build. It is a whole sort of ecosystem that you build together. When will this government start respecting proceeds of legal processes such as collective bargaining agreements? What is the latest problem? Can the CS tell us today? Why are the lecturers on the streets for 3 weeks? And the students have told us, Honorable Speaker, that if the matter is not resolved today, they will join the strike. What is going on? First year students have reported to the universities, Honorable Speaker, there are no classes. They are also on the streets. What sort of government is this?
Senator Sifuna, you know I directed that we ask questions related to the primary question. You know that is a very pertinent issue you are raising, which even can stop this house from proceeding in the afternoon. And I request even you just adjourn the house. You have those powers. We discuss that matter comprehensively.
No, the CS is here. Don't protect him. Let him answer these questions from the representatives of the people. And even Senator Cherargei asked about the strike. These are correlated matters.
CS proceed and
Let him
answer
tell us
those
if we are
2,
safe
3
or the
questions.
students will be here. He is here. This government is overprotected by the speakers in this house. Let him answer the question.
Senator
I'm here.
Sifuna,
I
you're out
will-
of order.
Your Speaker,
You know,
Mr.
I'm
Speaker,
always very lenient with you. Now you are trying to test my coolness. So,
Mr. Speaker, I'll attempt to answer those questions. On the question of infrastructure, of course, we have deficiencies in infrastructure funds, and we have a lot of uncompleted projects in our institutions. The ministry, in the Department of Higher Education alone, requires close to 9 billion to be able to complete the stalled projects. These resources are not available, and we keep lobbying, so to speak, the National Treasury so that we can get as much resources as possible to undertake the construction of those particular structures. Your second question was on the strikes, and I'll answer them together with Senator Sifuna's concern. But I just wish to state that earlier, I provided a response on the JS governance by referring to the Working Party recommendations and the fact that the bills are undergoing the processes that are required in order for them to be submitted eventually to Parliament, where they would then have legislative powers. Senator Beatrice's question on the titles, we've recommended and we've requested the institutions that do not have, I'm answering that question, I'm coming to it. The institutions that do not have titles, we've recommended and requested them to work with the ministry where they have difficulties, and we will work with the Ministry of Lands to ensure that all our institutions have titles in order to protect them from land grabbing. So that is a policy. We discovered that they had some challenges, and therefore we decided to support them through the AG and also through the Ministry of Housing and Lands to ensure that each and every institution has its land titles. Now you ask why the lecturers are on strike. The lecturers are on strike precisely because of three different issues arising from three different CBAs. The first issue was the CBA of 2021-2025, for which they went on strike last year, and we had a negotiation and a return to work formula. Under that return to work formula, in the year 2024-25, 4.3 billion was supposed to be paid to them to cover months to June 2025. That 4.3 billion was paid. The next amount that was to be paid was 2.73 billion for the financial year 25-26, and this was supposed to be paid in July 2025. That is the amount that delayed, and because of that delay, they issued a strike notice. 2 days into that notice, the 2.73 billion was paid. Under the 2021-25 CBA, the balance of 2.73 billion is to be paid in June 2026. So far as the CBA for 2021-2025 is concerned, the issues have been addressed. The second issue that they raised in order for them to issue that strike was on the CBA of 2017-2021. Under that CBA, they argue that there was an amount of 24 million. So there is a question of how much is outstanding between what the unions are asking for and what the government is saying is owed. So because of that, the teams went to court, and the court ordered that the strike be injected, and they go to a conciliator and have this amount verified, after which the settlement of it can be agreed on. So there is an order stopping the strike, which you can submit. The third issue that they raised is the issue of the CBA of 2025-2029. We had agreed that this CBA needs to be negotiated at the beginning of the cycle. The beginning of the cycle, of course, is 2025-2026. So we have from June to June 2025 to June 2026. That's the cycle of these negotiations. The negotiations begin, they are concluded, and then the CBA is signed for the cycle of 2025-2029. They were saying that this cycle has not begun, it has delayed. But they've been having meetings, they've had 2 meetings so far. So in essence, there hasn't been a delay. So the negotiations and discussions are going on to see the real point of what the issue is. But this country being what it is, the facts are crowded in the noise. So anyway, short and long of it is that the negotiations are ongoing, and we are going to have a court appearance on the 6th of October to confirm whether that conciliation process has taken place and what the outcome of it is. But the real issue is the 2017-2021 CBA, in which the verification of how much money is due in order for us to move to the next stage of how it is going to be settled is what is pending. So that is the reason why the lecturers are on strike, and I submit.
Honorable CS, maybe also advise that you give the same information. You have communicated to the country, yes, but when there is an issue, the best thing is to communicate so that Kenyans can be able to know what is happening.
Thank you.
So we go to the next question by the Senator for Kilifi County Senator Justice Mazayo. Question number 102.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have a few questions to the Cabinet Secretary. Number one, what are the key factors contributing to the high school dropout rates among girls in Kilifi County, particularly those affected by poverty, early pregnancies, and domestic caregiving responsibilities? Number two, why does Kilifi County continue to face challenges in ensuring that pregnant and parenting girls return to school despite the existence of supportive policies and programs? Number three, what specific interventions has the Ministry of Education implemented to address these challenges and support girls at risk of dropping out of school in Kilifi County? D, how is the ministry collaborating with the parents, local chiefs, school boards, and non-governmental organizations to overcome the socio-cultural barriers that hinder girls' education? And finally, Mr. Speaker, allow me to ask this final question, is what measures has the ministry put in place to promote and integrate community-based support system such as mentorship programs, counseling services, and local partnership to enhance retention and re-enrollment of vulnerable girls in schools? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS can respond to those questions.
Mr. Speaker, question 101A. Mr. Speaker, the cases of girls dropping out of school in Kilifi County have been the result of a number of factors, including poverty, that leads to school-going children to resort to work instead of education, and making them vulnerable to early pregnancies, which undermine their academic progression. According to the National Council for Population Development, the case of teenage pregnancies in Kilifi County stood at 9,578 in 2019. Some of the factors are vulnerable. The other causes include inadequate parental guidance, inadequate parental involvement in the lives and education of their children, inadequate community awareness and involvement in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence and incest, which sometimes goes unreported, poverty and parental inability failure to provide basic needs for their children, poor leadership on children protection rights, and negative peer influence and pressure. Because of the multifaceted interventions by the national and county government and other actors such as Plan International, UNICEF, and TICO, the number of teenage pregnancies in Kilifi has reduced to 6,545 in 2024. Indeed, the National Council for Population and Development has identified Kilifi County as one of the success stories in the fight against teenage pregnancies. We continue to implement interventions to ensure that these cases become a thing of the past, but eliminating these cases is a key to achieving a primary to secondary transition rate of 100% from the current 99.16%. Kilifi has a transition rate of 99.16%. 102B, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, implements the National School Reentry Program, which allows teenage mothers to return to school after childbirth. The implementation of this policy, however, has faced challenges such as low parental awareness, general poverty, which makes teenage mothers resort to work, as I've indicated, to provide for their offspring, and the lack of childcare services. 101C, Mr. Speaker, our interventions have included the following. 1, implementing the 100% transition policy and working with local administration to ensure that all persons of school-going age are in schools. This current transition rate in Kilifi County stands at 99.16%. The provision of Elimu scholarship and Wings to Fly scholarships to support vulnerable girls, a promotion of menstrual hygiene support to help reduce school absenteeism and teen pregnancies, strengthening guidance and counseling and life skill programs in schools, conducting gender sensitization and awareness programs in schools to help with that reduction. Mr. Speaker, may I be allowed to answer D and E together? The ministry collaborates with local leaders through community engagement, NGOs, which work with the ministry to also actively involve parents, chiefs, and village elders in discussion and program implementation to foster community-wide understanding of the importance of girls' education. In collaboration with partners, we also organize capacity building forums where local leaders and community members are trained and empowered to become advocates for girls' education, thereby helping them to change perceptions and address resistance to girls attending schools. During annual general meetings, Mr. Speaker, in schools, ministry officials sensitize parents and guardians on the importance of girl-child education. In addition, schools' boards of management are inducted on these matters as well. Our approach emphasizes community-based support through mentorship programs, and local leaders such as chiefs are involved in mopping up the girls who have dropped out of school to re-enroll. I submit.
Minority Leader, do you have any supplementary question? Okay, good. Senator Sifuna Edwin.
Speaker, again, this parliament has equipped the government with legal mechanisms to deal with some of these programs or these problems. Firstly, Honorable Speaker, it is still a crime in this country to engage in sexual relations with any person below the age of 18 years. My expectation, therefore, would be if the ministry tells us that there are 6,545 cases of teenage pregnancy, which is still a crime, they should show us commensurate numbers of prosecutions. Not these stories here of sensitizing the community. Because, Honorable Speaker, under Article 2 of the Constitution, even if you want to hide behind customary law, it says any law, including customary law, that is inconsistent with this Constitution is void to the extent of that inconsistency. My question to the Minister, CS, how many people have been prosecuted in Kilifi for the offense of statutory rape under your leadership?
Especially girl child. A few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, there was a case of prayers for food. Mr. Speaker, what is the ministry doing, apart from these challenges, to address the issue of school feeding program, not only in Kilifi, where children have to shout, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, for them to get something to eat, Mr. Speaker? What is the ministry doing to ensure that every child from Nairobi, Kilifi, Meru, Nandi, and across the nation accesses proper school feeding programs so that they can be able to be attentive in class, and also the transition and turnout, Mr. Speaker? And finally, he should give us the numbers of how the interventions, are they working in collaboration with Ngao so that they ensure 100% transition rate of our children, Mr. Speaker? I yield.
Senator Abdulrahman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question to the CS is, Is the CS aware that Kenya is ranked second globally as the leading country with child parents globally? 2, is he agreeing with me that young parents or child parents are a constituency in itself, and that the Children Act cannot be a remedy to the disease that we are facing as a country, and that it is time for the ministry to speed up and help I, as the sponsor of the child parent, the care and protection of child parents bill, so that we speed it up at the National Assembly for concurrence, so it becomes an act, so that it remedies all that is happening within our counties. Given that Kilifi is no longer the leader in child parents, the statistics given by Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, it is that the Ma community is now leading with
So
children,
can you
with
ask-
child parents.
Can you give the question, or do you need to be assistant to know?
My questions are 3.
No, you can't ask.
In
the
one,
details.
no,
Because actually I've
I'm
not-
asking the
I've not
CS
been
if he
able
ag-
to know the question
Mr.
that you
Speaker,
have asked.
I'm asking the CS if he agrees that the problem that we are facing, given that we are ranked second globally
Okay.
with children, with child parents' children. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the CS has said that the ministry has provisions for Elimu and Wings to Fly scholarships. Could he be in a position to give the list of names of those students in Kilifi who have benefited from these Wings to Fly? And secondly, maybe on the side of the promotion of menstrual hygienic support to these female girls, to the girls, would he be kind enough to name the schools where they have been supplied to? Thank you.
Now, CS, we start with the owner of the question, Senator Mazayo. Then you respond to the others. In just a minute, Senator Beatrice, let us first get the response. We have like 10 minutes to conclude with the CS education.
To Senator Masao's supplementary question, we do not have the data right here with us, but we undertake to supply that data on the Elimu and Wings to Fly scholarships, on the names and the beneficiaries of the students from Kilifi, and also the schools to which these facilities for menstrual support have been supplied to. So we undertake to do a letter and submit that report to you. To Senator Sifuna's question on the number of cases that have been prosecuted, this is to inform the Senate that the cases are prosecuted by the DPP, and we do not have the numbers as we speak, but we can get in touch with the DPP and supply the data to the Senate of the cases that they are currently undertaking relating to the sexual offenses and teenage pregnancies of the children across the country, including Kilifi. So we undertake to supply that particular data because it wasn't really part. On the question of, I think Cheralgai did ask the question on access to food. Currently, the government is having a school feeding program where we are feeding 2.6 million children across the country. But statistics indicate that we need to be able to feed up to 10 million children. But the resources and the budget is not available to meet that number, and we keep enhancing that number, and we'll continue working with the government to ensure that that number increases to the 10 million target. With respect to the issue of the school feeding program and religion in Ganze that was highlighted, that particular project and program is under investigation as we speak, but the government has stopped that particular sponsor from continuing to supply or to feed the children in that particular area until we get to the bottom of the matter. I submit.
The last two questions from Senator Beatrice Akin. Senator Sifuna, your answer has been given. We just wait for the... Senator Sifuna, I think we are really digressing on these issues. When the CS commits, actually what we should ask is when. CS, when will you provide that list? From both Senator Mazayo, and the list from Senator Sifuna of the prosecutions.
Mr. Speaker, in 7 days' time. May I answer the question to... We as a government...
The commitment on the
yes,
list?
7 days, within 7 days.
Okay, fair enough. Question from Senator Miraj.
Yes, for Senator Miraj, we as a government will support any initiative and any particular program that will protect our children. So we'll work with you to give you the necessary support for that bill.
Senator Beatrice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the
You know we ask only one supplementary question, minority leader. Seconds. And minority leader, you are not there to direct the chair on what to do.
Speaker, you know you
are the minority side, but not to direct the speaker. You are not my minority leader. You lead your team, not the chair.
Speaker, I would pray that you don't get upset because this is a very delicate conversation we're having. Actually, the point that I wanted to make is the Ministry of Education is a custodian of our children. Knowing what happens in some of these areas, you might not find a complainant. Our expectation is that the ministry is a complainant. The ministry has figures, 6,000 teenage pregnancies in Kilifi. They are the custodians of the data of the victims. So for somebody to refer us to the DPP, Honorable Speaker, is to be disingenuous. They should be the ones actually being the complainants in these cases. That is the point that I wanted to make. The minister is trying to run away. They are the ones, if they have the data of the victims, how can they not have the data of the perpetrators? Unless this ministry doesn't understand how pregnancies occur.
That's Funa. But he has 6,500 pregnancies, early pregnancies. I think the figures are not accurate because like Meru, we have a serious problem. Yesterday I saw Meru is reading in this thing. So the figures, you need to also confirm the figures and give us the list because it's higher than 6,000.
That's just for Kilifi.
Senator Beatrice.
Honorable Speaker, I was amazed that my SG is talking about a way in which pregnancies occur. I only know of one way, but that is besides the point, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that is besides the point. My point back to this question, Honorable Speaker, on the dropout rates, and especially particularly those affected by poverty. My question then to the Honorable CS is that does the ministry have specific affirmative measures that they put in place for the urban poor? Honorable Speaker, I'm mentioning the urban poor because their challenges are peculiar to other areas. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the hierarchy of needs, it would not matter that somebody would be looking for education if they cannot get food to eat. So I'm asking the CS, what measures do they have to address, in addressing the urban poor challenges, especially in our country? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Consolata Naubwile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is on the low retention and dropouts, school dropouts. Especially in Bungoma County, which is due to abject poverty, ministerial hygiene, and many other related cases. I would like to ask the CS, Julius Migos, to substantiate the fact about the implementation of the Children's Act 2022 that protects the best interest of the child in regard to provision of free primary education, secondary education, and care and protection. Because so many school-going children are suffering in Bungoma because of the laid down reasons. And there is also a lot of SGBV that is prevalent in Bungoma County. So kindly help us understand the strategies that the ministry has put in place to curb this anomaly. I submit.
CS, answer those two questions as we conclude.
The strategies to increase and retain a high number of retention of children in schools will include the provision of school feeding programs in those areas, in those poor areas. We also have boarding schools, low-cost boarding schools that we encourage to allow the children to be in boarding institutions, and provision of bursaries to those parents or to those homes that are needy. That helps with the retention across the country, whether it is in Kilifi or Bungoma. And even
I know peculiar challenges. Are there any affirmative measures and networks that could assist? So does the ministry have specific measures that are specific to the urban poor? If no, then we get
I was just consulting, but in school feeding, we do it, they retain the students the same way, the children the same way, whether it is in the rural areas or in the urban. When we give bursaries, it is the same thing. When we provide for the sanitary, it is the same thing. So what we're just saying,
you know, that's not how we conduct business, honestly speaking. And if the CS were not satisfied, just visit his office, and discuss issues on the urban poor and the rural poor. Your office is open, I think, CS?
Yes, it is.
Yes, have a cup of tea with the CS and discuss. That is a general thing that can help this country.
Yeah.
So let us just not pressure.
Thank you.
To get the questions.
We are also
now. Because actually, if he was prepared, he could have come with that answer, Honorable Beatties. To be fair, either you bring a question or you visit the ministry to discuss with the technical team, give them advice, you know, so that we can help our country. I feel not to give you another chance. So I want to, the chair, Standing Committee on Education, requested for just a minute to give an update on the committee work. And I would want to give you this chance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank Honorable CS for appearing before this House this morning. And Mr. Speaker, I would also want to tell the House that the Honorable CS has taken action on a stalemate which has been there. We had 41 pending statements for the ministry, and we had a meeting last weekend, actually a retreat with the ministry, and Honorable CS has committed to work with the committee, and I think that is a concern which a senator had raised here, and I just want to reassure the House that the Honorable CS has committed to work with the committee and is already started. We had our first retreat with him and his team over the weekend in Mombasa, and he committed that the answers which were pending, 41 in number, were going to be answered, and I want to confirm to this House that that has already been done. So I want to sincerely thank the Honorable CS, and I want to ask him to continue with that spirit so that together we can serve the people of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, Chair, in occasion, there are various issues which are being raised by members. Therefore, since you have that good working chemistry, assist also the members with the questions that they have asked, and also the timelines, so that we can really be able to move on. When I spoke to speak, I seen that there's another committee at the other house which has failed to unlock a few things which the Senate committee can be able to do. So we are ready to support you. You know, we meet at the liaison. As the chair, I'm ready to support your committee to assist this country on matters in education. Want to thank
I wanted to just reassure you, Mr. Speaker, that I believe that the CS is in a position to actually sort us out as a Senate. Thank you.
Honorable CS, thank you very much for your time and for answering these very many questions. Don't tire to respond to the Senate. The Senate is a house of reason. We can be able to assist this country in a very big way, even unlocking those the support you need in the budgets. We're almost there now, so that Senate also can participate in the budget-making process. And I know, I'm aware, we must achieve that. So thank you very much for coming this morning, and all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful. And may I say something, Mr. Speaker, before I go?
Please.
Let me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I must also take this opportunity to welcome the Honorable CS for Tourism to this House. Honorable Speaker, I will move straight away to the question. And the question number A. What is the current status of the tourism sector in Kenya, and how...
More Radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge. 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 More Radio 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 88.2 FM.